'Tis the season. Baseball boys are back. Kyle Schassburger and David Kahn. We're here on December 19th, recording 6 days before Christmas. Hanukkah is in the books. The Hebrew Hammer joins us if you're watching live on the Varsity Channel on YouTube. I'm Kyle Schassburger at Kyle Schass. Schass on the Shelf at SportsCon4 is where you can find Mr. Kahn on Twitter, on X. David, we are here to discuss a couple of developments in college baseball. Wet the whistle, why not? There are teams that are training. Everyone is preparing for the upcoming season, which is set to begin inside of 8 weeks, close to 7 weeks now, coming up in mid-February. I think it might be. 6. So we thought it'd be a good time here, especially over the holidays, with a lot of people maybe traveling on the road, needing to inject some candy cane baseball knowledge into their menorah-like veins. So I thought we should go ahead and do that here for everyone. We last spoke with you in October. If you want, go back, find that episode, the fall ball episode. Jay Johnson, head coach of the national champion, winning LSU Tigers. That is available for you as well. A lot of college football, even a college basketball pod available for you recently on this feed, wherever you get your podcasts, with Stephen Hartzell hosting as always. But Kahn, how the hell are you, man? We're going to talk maybe an alternative to RPI coming up. Our 8 crazy selections for Omaha, crazy early as we come to you. I'm just full of all the holiday puns here. How are you, man?
Dude, you're nailing it. I mean, you are in the holiday spirit. Schass on a Shelf in full bloom. I know you're in the middle of the 12 Days of Gainsmas, so happy Gainsmas to you. Yeah,
little tease coming
tease. I got the teases too. I'm fantastic. Just came back from my own Hanukkah. I was in Orlando with the fam last week, so that was great. Just went to the dentist. Got told that I had the cleanest teeth they'd seen all day. So I told them that they need to give me a free exam next time because of that. They said no. So, but
didn't you get a cookie though?
I sure did, and I devoured it in less than 3 seconds.
Oh man,
warm
Tom
cookie.
Goes to a dentist that provides warm cookies after your visit. It's amazing.
Delicious.
I was there a couple of weeks ago. I should have actually brought that up and been like, some of your competitors here are dishing out warm cookies. You need to step your game up here a little bit.
The weirdest thing about it was I was sitting in the lobby, and I'm looking down at my phone, and all of a sudden, I hear the person behind me check in, and they go, "What's your last name?" And he goes, "Ferris." And I'm like, I know that's not Chris Ferris because I can hear the voice, and it's not Chris. But I look up just in case because Chris and I share the same barber.
Oh.
But I was like, what if we share the same dentist too? It wasn't Chris. I knew it from the second I heard him talk. But I asked Chris Ferris today, and I said, "Hey, do you know anyone named Michael Ferris?" He goes, "No, I have no relatives." So it's not even a relative.
I have no relatives. He would make a definitive statement like that. The man, the myth, the legend, our fearless leader, Chris Ferris, VP of Audio for Learfield, is actually sitting in the lobby right now waiting on the mailman.
Yes.
So
yes.
I don't know why or what for. Maybe he's expecting something big from Santa to come, slaying across Trade Street. But he's in the office today. We're off for 2 weeks, yet we are here providing content and working for the college baseball fans. So we are here today. Before we get to baseball, and a possible alternative to the RPI, which I know a lot of people are jazzed up about. We'll go into some of the details from 643 Charts, what they have come up with. The DSR, the Diamond Sports Ranking. Kahn, you are fresh off a Hanukkah vacation down south to Florida. What kind of haul did you come up with, man? Was it an exciting time catching up with the fam?
It was a great time catching up with the fam. Had some very good dinners. Grandma saw her twice, I think. Uncle came to town as well because my parents were actually jettisoning off to New York for the weekend the day that I was coming back. So they left. No, it was great. Got some much needed gifts. Parents came through in the clutch. Got an air purifier for the room. Much needed for my allergy prone self.
What a gift.
Amazing. I also got another Pro controller for my Nintendo Switch. Huge. Parents came through with a wireless car charger. So I don't need a cord anymore to charge my phone. Just pop it on the pad and we're good to go. And then they also bought me a cleaning kit right here that I can use for my brand new computer that work just provided us. And also works on phones and tablets and iPads and a bunch of other stuff. So
very
got all that.
Very resourceful, practical gifts.
Absolutely. They nailed it as they usually do. Also bought me some funny socks that I can't Those are not suitable for podcasting, but they're hilarious, and I'll send you a picture of them later offline. It was a fun time. Actually surprised my parents by paying for one of the dinners as their Hanukkah gift. So I gave a little present back to them. It said the check came, and I said, "This one's on me," and gave it to them, and then we're good to go. But no, it was a great time. Great weather. This weather here sucks. I hate everything about this. But Orlando, beautiful.
Yeah, the weather in Winston, it did tick up slightly on Saturday, maybe Sunday early on, but it was very rainy on Sunday, so that kind of wiped out any kind of warmth. But the colder temperatures, they're here, man. We can't complain too much in North Carolina. We know there are other parts of the country that are dealing with far worse. Although a year ago, I remember I lost my power on Christmas Eve and Christmas morning. I did not have it, and that was the second time because we were dealing with sub-zero, like 17, 18, 19 degree temperatures. Which North Carolina is not, capable of handling. At least my apartment was not able to during that stretch. So I like how you mentioned the Nintendo Switch controller. Word on the street is that Santa is and his little helpers have been cooking up a little concoction that includes a Nintendo Switch for little Pudge, my 8-year-old. So I might need some tips and tricks on that. I still think the 8-year-old's going to get the better haul. That's for sure. She's got a bike waiting for her that is currently stashed in my closet. It's hard for me to maneuver and find something to wear each day. I think I'm wearing the same bottoms for the third straight day just because they're
so rare for you.
Yeah, in a corner that I cannot currently get to because there is a bike sandwiched in my walk-in closet. So, we manage, but Switch, bike. She's got some new J's coming in that are going to match her father.
Nice. Mom did come through with some new shoes as well.
Good, man. Good.
They're en route.
Well, let's hope that Santa and whoever it is comes through in the clutch for everyone that is listening and tuning in. And college baseball certainly is the most grand present of them all, and it will be here inside of 2 months from today. And we are certainly excited for that. I will give you, before we leave today, the first 6 days of Gainsmas.
Yes.
And that will be a tease for you to continue to follow and consume all the content that one Kyle Schassburger is pumping out on Instagram at Kyle Schass is where
Daily.
You can follow me. So you can follow, there's even a highlight, a story that is permanently attached to my profile called Gainsmas, and all 6 days are currently live, and I will sing and recite that to you before we get off here on this podcast coming on December 19th, which is the 6th day of Gainsmas, and we'll see what my soulmate we'll have in store for the first 6 days. And again, follow me at Kyle Schass for the remaining days. All right, man. The RPI alternative, perhaps. Now, it's called the Diamond Sports Ranking, DSR. I first want to say, this isn't some gospel type thing that the NCAA is adopting. This is something that D1Baseball.com is getting in bed with because of their relationship with 643 charts and all the analytical data that they provide, all the fun, the goodies, all the statistics, the advanced analytics that are provided by 643 charts. They've come up with a system that D1 Baseball is going to use in conjunction with their regular rankings, their top 25, but also their RPI. So you're going to see, if you're a D1Baseball.com subscriber, which if you're listening to this podcast, you should be if you aren't already, because you are a degenerate of college baseball ilk. But this is going to be a tool for us to use as fans in engaging and measuring the competitive balance of the sport and how teams maybe should be selected into the field of 64 moving forward. But it is not a measurement that is officially going to be used by the NCAA. What it is, I think it's a good trial period, and kind of I'll give it to you here as a jumping off platform here to discuss what this means for the future and how this system might benefit and what the criteria is for the sport moving forward. This will give us a good kind of litmus test to see how closely it matches up with the RPI and putting something into place, into practice moving forward. And, maybe this can be sort of an experiment that the NCAA can see after 1 year, or maybe it takes 2. I don't know. Wishful thinking, hoping that, fingers crossed, the system works to the way that we want it to. Who are not fans of the RPI, that maybe the NCAA can see this and look to potentially adopt this in the future because it is successful.
Yeah, and there's actually a great portion of the blog post put out by 643charts.com. If you go there, it's 643charts.com/DSR_explained /. We will post that in the description of this podcast and on X, Twitter, whatever you call it, so you can see it and go read the full detailed explanation of what the Diamond Sports ranking is that kind of puts in a chart of what the baseball top 30 and the softball top 30, because it's important to note this is going to be used by D1 for both baseball and softball this year to compare the rankings. And they compared what the RPI system would have spit out and what the DSR system spit out. And there is a significant difference, including several teams that were both national seeds and host seeds that would either jump into that picture or jump out of that picture. And we will touch on that as we get further on along into this podcast. But yeah, Schass, you're absolutely right. This is a test. And the reason it's a test is because, well, nobody's come up with anything better. There is no other alternative right now. So D1 made it their mission with the help of 643 Charts, which, by the way, that is another subscription service to go on, but the blog post is free to read. You should subscribe to both of those because 643 Charts, if you are a degenerate baseball and softball fan, all the analytics in the world are right there for you, and they're very easily explained. The chart is very easy to navigate. I would definitely go on there as well. But they made it their mission to say, hey, we need to come up with something to deviate from RPI, because the biggest knock on RPI is how much they value strength of schedule. Now, DSR, the Diamond Sports ranking, does value strength of schedule, just not as heavily as the RPI. There's more factors integrated into this DSR that makes it more of a dynamic, adjusting, real-time game evaluating stat versus RPI is kind of stagnant once the schedules are released. And really, the outcomes of the game don't matter as much as just who's playing who. It's more a schedule metric versus what actually happened in the game, where the game was, what the team was like at the time the game was being played, the time of the game, et cetera, et cetera. The DSR was built to incorporate all of these factors to create a more real-time evaluation of the team, and it's the winning team and the losing team at the exact time the game is being played. So really, it's more of a realistic picture versus the RPI, which just takes the schedule. You could pretty much figure out a team's RPI within a range of like 1 to 10, barring any drastic losses, from the time the schedule comes out. Now you could basically look at the SEC schedule and go, okay, RPIs for all these teams are going to be anywhere between 1 and 35 for the most part, if they don't have any unholy losses that you don't see coming.
So win quality, win expectancy, margin of victory, and game location. Those are the four, critical, fundamental pillars that basically are representative of what the DSR is, the Diamond Sports ranking. Win quality, win expectancy, margin of victory, and game location. The RPI previously, really all it was, and currently, because again, that is the tool that the NCAA is using to select these teams. And I want to bring this back to college basketball in a moment because they made this change to the net rankings in 2018. But the RPI traditionally is a team's winning percentage, average opponent's winning percentage, average opponent's winning percentage, and it doesn't take into account these other elements. And in win quality, expectancy, margin of victory, and game location. Now, the problem we've run into with RPI, especially in that final third of the regular season, as we get into, the end of April and early in May before the start of conference tournament season, is you'll see programs who have solid, respectable RPIs who could potentially, and it's not even a bubble. They're not bubble teams per se, but it could be a team that does not want to play a team that has an RPI rating of, let's say, 300 or worse, or 200 or worse, knowing that that's not helping them by beating that team. That's actually hurting them. So if you take, let's say, Kentucky, well, Kentucky's a bad example because they were near the top of the RPI last year. But let's say Texas A&M. 10th rated team in RPI. Will they want to play the team that is rated, 200 in RPI in a midweek game on a Tuesday, knowing that Texas A&M is trying to work their way into the top 8 and a number 1 overall national seed? They know that playing a 200 sub-level RPI team is not going to increase their chances of getting into that top 8. The RPI penalizes them for playing those games. So that's the first thing that I love, that the DSR is intended not to penalize these teams at all. In fact, it's going to award you if a team like Texas A&M can beat that team in the midweek by, let's say, 10 or more runs. Like, they'll be rewarded even for that with margin of victory. And the other good thing about the margin of victory is, though, because we've seen some obscene scores, and we understand, a 20-run game and a 30-run game, aesthetically is not pleasing, and it's something that we kind of scoff at in terms of why is this team playing that team. The margin of victory, it's important to know that with the DSR, you're not going to be like rewarded for beating a team by 30 runs. It's going to be capped at 10, which I like. Now, if you do, slaughter a team or mercy run or, run rule a team and you win by 10, if that is built in, in the ground rules exchanging or the SEC player, whatever it is, and you beat a team by 10, if you beat a team by 20, it still scores as beating a team by 10. So it's capped at 10 runs. However, you will be rewarded for beating a team, by more runs up to 10 where it's capped. So I love that as well in the game location. Now, Kahn, this is very similar to the net rating and ranking that was introduced where it value in college basketball in 2018. They got rid of the RPI. The net, not to give you an entire history or breakdown what college basketball does, but it does value, neutral floor, home court, road wins, and then it breaks you into like quadrants. This kind of has a similar, is attempting to do the same thing as what the net had done, introduced in 2018.
Yeah, it certainly does. And the important thing to recognize about the DSR is that it ranks teams overall based on their probability of defeating an average team. The RPI doesn't do that. It doesn't necessarily ensure that the better team, quote unquote, is ranked higher when comparing teams because it so heavily favors the strength of schedule. The DSR says if you are ranked above another team, you're going to be favored on a neutral site. And to go back to what you were saying about the margin of victory being capped at 10 points, RPI, as you mentioned, with the example from Texas A&M, the RPI will not award Texas A&M for winning that game, no matter what. They're going to take a hit. Now, they win the game, they take less of a hit. The DSR is opposite. The DSR says if you win, you move up. If you lose, now if Texas A&M loses that game in the DSR, they're going to plummet. But if they win, they will go up just by a slimmer margin because it's a team they're more heavily favored as to win. And win quality is that top pillar of the DSR. It's the most important. It measures how good the defeated team is. So Texas A&M playing a 200 level RPI team, probably not a very high win quality. The better the team is that is defeated, the more points the winning team gets in the Diamond Sports ranking ratings. So a midweek win for Texas A&M doesn't help them as much, but unlike the RPI, it doesn't hurt them. And I think that's the biggest significant difference between this and the RPI is because we see all these things all the time. You mentioned the cancellation of games. It's aggravating. You see all these reasons for weather, facility usage, whatever. It's all made up. It's all bull. It's just we don't want to take a hit in the RPI rankings. And you're still going to see them this year because, again, this DSR has not been adopted by the NCAA as canon. We certainly hope that it will, or at least portions of the DSR will be incorporated into the ratings that the NCAA calls, their, final rankings for the regular season that builds the postseason field. But, for us college baseball fans to compare and the NCAA to kind of look at and go, whoa, maybe there is a real problem with the RPI. That's what this is going to show. And I think win quality is the biggest factor of that. Margin of victory certainly helps because, the biggest thing about margin of victory that we've all hated in those slaughtering games is teams are up by 17 and they just start throwing whoever and the games take 5 hours. And the other team starts coming back and it becomes like a 6-run game as a final, but the game took 5.5 hours. And the biggest thing that we talked about last year with the action clock and everything like that is that baseball needed to be quicker, and we saw it. It was. The action clock works, and teams adopted to it, albeit they had to do it in the regular season. That was another issue, but they've adopted at this point. And this year we shouldn't see as much ill effects in February. The great thing about margin of victory is teams want to get the maximum amount of points for winning these games. So you want to keep that run total above 10 runs. So you're not necessarily going to throw your 12th best reliever, your 13th best reliever out of the bullpen if it's a 10-run game. Now, if it's a 20-run game, okay, you still might. But
yeah, so you're talking
there's a commitment to win that game by the most runs that'll count possible.
So there will be some added suspense, maybe in the later junctions of the regular season when teams are fighting and seeing where, if this becomes gospel, if this is adopted by the NCAA. But again, this is all a test study. This is a case study moving forward. But let's say a team, is looking for style points, if you will, to help move up.
Exactly.
They're not going to be throwing out that last pitcher on the bench or that last arm in the bullpen to be able to put in, because they want to maintain a certain level of dominance to improve their rating, no matter how slim, that jump might be or the margins might be, because again, win expectancy is put into this. So how likely the favored team will win, the higher, the lower, or the lower amount of points will be awarded to that team if they are heavily favored. Correct. Now that brings in another question. So we're taking in, gambling into this, like odds,
maybe
on the front end. Like, I don't know exactly what that looks like, but we're determined. That's the second, pillar here: win expectancy. How likely the favored team will win, and they will be awarded less based on being favored by more going into that matchup.
I mean, you think about it from a gambling perspective, right? The higher the odds are in favor of one team, the less of a payout you're going to get. Like, you see certain things where the odds are like minus 1,000. You're not going to win a ton of money on those bets unless you bet a ton of money. But if you're getting into plus odds, like plus 500, for example, there's more opportunity for you to get a bigger payout. So there's the gambling comparison right there. I think it's a very apropos comparison by you, because, if you're expected to beat a team by 15 runs, you better beat that team by 15 runs, or at the very least beat that team. Because if that team beats you, then their win expectancy was very low, which means they're going to steal a lot of points from you in the DSR. And that's the other part of this that's so interesting, is that the DSR is not just a points system, Schass. It's a points exchange system. The winning team takes points directly from the losing team. Now, you only lose points when you lose. You only get points when you win. We've established that. But that's the thing that's going to really be interesting and fascinating to watch at the tail end of the season, when you've got, especially in the SEC, the ACC, the Big 12, those top three conferences that we see every single year. They're playing each other every weekend, and they're going to be nip and tuck for those, top 16 host seeds, those top 8 national seeds. And again, this isn't adopted, but we're playing the game as if it is. They're going to steal points directly from these other teams that could jockey them in and out of positioning. They really hold their own fate in their hands each and every game, and each and every game is so important, versus in previous years with just the RPI, you win the series, you're kind of like, okay, whatever, we can give up Sunday. It's fine. There's more of an incentive to play every single game all the way through to the fullest, win every game, or at least put in your best effort to win every game, because every game involves points now.
Yeah, and again, my final thought, and I want you to be able to, maybe provide some examples from this past year, because I know 643 Charts has actually come up and provided what was, a top 30, if you will, from RPI in the comparison to what the Diamond Sports ranking might have been. But again, this is college baseball's attempt to try and change a system that has been broke, that most of us all believe is broke. Maybe not completely broken, but it's extremely flawed, right? So how can we improve it? How can we improve the selection process? There's still always going to be, questions about who the 65th, 66th, 67th, 68th team, those first 4 out, those last 4 into the field. There's going to be questions about that. But we might feel a little bit better about those questions with a rating system that is going to take into account, more specific criteria that we've already laid out in terms of, where the games are played, the margin of victory, the win expectancy, the win quality. And it's not just solely based off opponent's winning percentage or your opponent's winning percentage.
Or strength of schedule.
Or strength of schedule. This is taking into account more factors, more variables. Its goal is to be more precise and value more things. And I agree with it. And like what college basketball, I agree with it in theory, right? The principle of all of this, like college basketball did in 2018 with the quadrant system, with the net ratings, as I've referenced already. That was an attempt to come in with the new and out with the old, and reframe and rework and reimagine the way we've been evaluating these teams. Because you look at college baseball and the way that this has worked. What the RPI? I know there was a nice timeline put out by D1 Baseball. It was what, 1999 was when the RPI was adopted by D1 Baseball, Division I baseball in the tournament. Softball adopted it in 2003. RPI was first created for men's basketball in 1981. So look at that right there and look at my comparison to the net. So we're talking about 18 years that went by from when this was created for basketball and then adopted by baseball. 18 years. In this instance, we're talking about 5. Now, it's not, again, this isn't adopted by the NCAA, but at least the working theory and thought is that in fixing the RPI and coming up with the Diamond Sports ranking, that this tool at least is being pushed to the forefront 5 years after something was officially introduced for college basketball. So that necessitation of change in that timeline, and that acceleration versus the 18 years previously, hopefully it's not going to be 18 years, from the net being introduced to college basketball and a change officially being made in college baseball. And this is the first step in terms of us wrapping our minds around it, and hopefully the NCAA takes notice.
Yeah, I totally agree. And the other factor I think we need to touch on that we kind of have hemmed and hawed around, but we haven't specifically mentioned it, is this also not only assesses your opponent's strength at the time of game, but it assesses your own strength at the time of game, basically saying injuries are accounted for in the DSR. So if your team is banged up for any kind of reason, that will kind of fluctuate the win quality, the win expectancy, all those types of things. That'll fluctuate how many points your opponent can take from you. Because if you're banged up, we've seen a team like Arkansas have a really tough stretch for a while. LSU, perfect example last year when they were bevied with injuries. They struggled a little bit. Well, if they're banged up, the DSR accounts for that, and it doesn't create as much of a point, take from LSU if they lose because they are hurt. They're not at full strength. The RPI does not account for that at all. That I think is one thing that's going to get overlooked in this DSR a lot, is how much it equates your current status as a team overall. Now, that's obviously somewhat of a qualitative assessment because you have to take into effect who's injured, what they've done, what they're projected to do, et cetera, and projections are not always fact, but it's more than what we had. So I think that's a big point to bring out there. You mentioned the fact that
don't tell Florida State fans that roster management and health is going to be taken into consideration.
The college football playoff does not use the DSR. No,
yeah.
It sure doesn't. Maybe they should. It would be the GSR, the Gridiron Sports Ranking.
Yeah.
So sense. Yeah. Actually, we can't use GSR. That's gunshot residue. Yeah.
Apologies.
Sorry, can't use that. We'll come up with a better one. But GR, I don't know. I'm not gonna try. You mentioned the fact that there is a comparison out there right now between baseball top 30 and softball top 30 from last year.
I'm seeing some teams with RPI differences up to 25. I'm looking at Oral Roberts, for example, who had an RPI of 45, but their DSR would have had them at 20. Correct. So that was a positive change. Team like Kentucky,
and they made the World Series.
And they made the College World Series. So that's predictive metrics there as we look back. And you look at a team like Kentucky, who was near the top all season long, 15 in DSR, but their RPI number was 4. So that's
they barely would have hosted. Worse. Yeah, they barely would have hosted. Correct. Yeah, so some of the ones that stood out, you mentioned Oral Roberts. That's the biggest jump of anybody in the top 30, and it's in the right direction for what happened with Oral Roberts this year. Because, wow, and Kentucky, their non-con was so strong. That's why their RPI was so high, and they play in the best conference in college baseball. But their non-con, they play teams like Indiana State, who made the regionals, or super regionals. in fact. So Kentucky, 4, RPI, 15 DSR. They barely hosted, according to the DSR. Other ones to keep in mind: Virginia, Tennessee, Alabama, all would have been top 8 national seeds if you went by the DSR. They all were host sites, but they would have been top 8 national, meaning they could have hosted super regionals as well. Guaranteed, according to the DSR. TCU, who didn't host, was not a host site, now ended up hosting the Supers because of the Special Olympics in Terre Haute for Indiana State. We remember that whole crazy story. They would have been a host site at number 9, according to the DSR. Arkansas would not have been a top 8 national seed. They were 5 in the RPI. They would have been 10 in the DSR. Other ones to note: Kentucky, they were 4 in the RPI, 15 in the DSR. South Carolina, who we both just hammered against when the postseason came out, and they were number 6 in the RPI. They wouldn't even have hosted. They would have been 19, according to the DSR. That one really popped out at me because that's a team that goes from being a top 8 national seed to not even hosting, according to a different metric, which supposedly accounts for real-time, game by game by game by game. And you're talking about a team like South Carolina, who also dealt with a huge deluge of injuries throughout the season and still managed to make the postseason, but they got a huge benefit from hosting in Columbia.
I'm sorry, did you just say deluge?
Yeah.
I gotta put that one down.
Yeah, deluge of injuries.
All right, very nice.
Yeah.
In mid-season form already.
Add that to your broadcast lexicon.
Yeah. That's because of your San Juan trip right there.
It sure is. Yeah. Hey, you had a fun trip of your own in the Bahamas, my man.
Yeah, but I also murdered a deer.
The deer almost murdered you. First of all, let's put the blame where it needs to be. You were not driving recklessly. The deer almost murdered you, and thank God you are alive. That was my first thought when I saw your car. Now, granted, you were posting about it, so I knew you were alive, but goodness gracious.
Folks, Kahn and I got to call some basketball in exotic locations the week of Thanksgiving. He went to Puerto Rico. I went to the Bahamas. He had West Virginia women's basketball and Arkansas men's basketball. But on my way to the airport Monday, the week of Thanksgiving, 2:45 a.m., I'm 15 minutes from my apartment on the interstate, the only car on the interstate, heading west towards Charlotte. A deer, Bambi himself, the Bambiest of all Bambis, the largest buck that the wrecker who had picked up my vehicle later that morning had seen in his 40 years of doing business. And the antlers, where you can see they punctured the bottom of my windshield. But this deer, Mr. Bambi, jumped over a 4-foot median into the left lane blindly because it's a 4-foot median. So he's coming. He has no idea my car's coming. It's 2:45 a.m. and jumps right in front of me. I'm the only car on the interstate, 2:45 a.m. Boom. Kia Forte, Mr. Matt Forte himself. 22 version, boom, see ya, accordion, smashed, drifted on the shoulder, left my car there, had to pay an Uber, $100 under the table just to get to the airport. I was shaken, but I would not be deterred. I made it to the airport, was able to rebook, missed my 6 a.m., but still got there. But yeah, I had that hanging over my head the entire week, so that was brutal to walk.
But you have a new car now.
It was brutal to get home to and deal with. I was on the phone with the DMV earlier today trying to figure out what to do with my old plate because at least I had the I had the wherewithal when I went to go get my things out of my vehicle to remember to snag the plate that time because I had, not had that the previous vehicle 16 months earlier that was wrecked also en route to the airport.
Brutal. Yeah. You should just never go to the airport again.
Never done. Yeah, you are my driver, or I'm Ubering, or I am not, or I'm just going to schedule flights in the middle of the day.
That's what you should
where do. The sun is up. I'm not rushed, and not that I was rushed in the morning, but it's not the first thing I do, okay?
Yeah.
Because, man, you talk about a wake-up call. That's twice now en route to the airport in a 16-month span. I've had 2 vehicles totaled, neither my fault. Certainly some nightmarish experiences.
And everybody's okay, thank God.
Hey, could have been worse. Yeah, could have been worse. The deer is not. By the way, the record told me a car was entering onto the interstate when he was when he was pulling over and getting my vehicle. And a car hit that same deer that was still in the middle of the road. And it was nearly like I think he referenced Starsky and Hutch, like flying up into the air.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
You have a new car though, the Juggernaut.
Yeah, the Juggernaut. The Juggernaut. Yeah,
The
it's good.
Juggernaut. It's a nice car. I've had the pleasure of being inside the Juggernaut once. It's a very nice vehicle.
It is a beautiful vehicle. So,
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else to put a bow on the DSR? I will say, looking at softball, I know this is a baseball show, but softball does not have that much variance.
No.
And I think that's, I don't know if that's a competitive balance thing or just where we're at with the sport with more parity. I think it's just a more parity
You
thing.
want to know what it
baseball.
is?
What
it's
is
Oklahoma being so goddamn good.
That's
That's it.
I think you're right. Because the biggest, when you're looking at DSR and RPI in college softball, the biggest drop negatively is
Virginia
4
Tech
spots?
minus Virginia Tech's 27 to 21 from DSR to RPI.
Oh, you had a 6. Okay, yeah, you had a 6 spot jump. So
yeah, now the biggest improvement is down below that. It's Marshall going up from 51 to 29.
Yeah,
but that's the only large number out there.
22 spots. Yeah, everything else is 0, 2, 3, 4. So not that much discrepancy. But I do love, again, this is all in theory. This isn't hypothetical from a D1 baseball.com standpoint because they are adopting this. They are going to have this available for you on their website moving forward to be able to use as a comparative tool with RPI. Will the NCAA make an effort to actually look at this critically as they attempt, we hope, to modernize, the evaluation tool in the selection process for the tournament? That's what we hope. That's what the goal of this is. And I love all of the elements. I think in theory this is a great thing. And look, competition breeds excellence, right? Like at least we have a working theory, a thought. These aren't two athletes that are battling it out, but it's two different schools of thought and measuring tools that we can use to hopefully, get better and make a decision and not let another 18 years go by from when college basketball makes a move to modernize its selection system for baseball and softball to actually follow suit.
Oh God, I couldn't have put it better myself. I'm excited to follow these rankings all year on D1 Baseball's website because it's going to be so fascinating to look at the comparison between the two, just simply to see what it looks like. Because we saw what happened last year, just what we just talked about moments ago, and now we're going to see it in real time update. There's some charts, graphs of line graphs of how this thing is developed over the course of the season for baseball and softball compared to RPI. Those are really fun to look at. Again, folks, you want to see what we're talking about. You want to learn and go way more in depth than we're going in. 643charts.com/DSR_explain/ go there. D1 Baseball also has a mini version of that article. They collabed on this. It's a beautiful thing. Read all about it because I think this is the last thing I want to say on DSR because, again, it's hypothetical. I hope that you are right, that it doesn't take 18 years for the NCAA to adopt this because I think this is a great measuring stick. We'll obviously see it in practice for the first time in real time this year, but I think this is a great measuring stick. And there's a way to maybe incorporate pieces of RPI, pieces of this together and come up with just a more real-time, realistic ranking versus just taking the team strength of schedule and going, oh, you scheduled really hard teams, so your RPI is better. That's all the RPI says. It's you scheduled a good schedule. Good job.
Yep.
You got good teams to play you if you're a mid-major or whatever. Like Indiana State last year. Indiana State, well done getting Kentucky to play you, and congratulations to Kentucky because Indiana State was good. Like that's all it says. Versus the DSR is so much more varied and so much more complex and adjustable. It's dynamic, as we mentioned, in real time. So I love everything about it. I'm here for it. Put it in practice right now if I'm the head of the NCAA. But we'll see how long it takes. I hope that the NCAA takes a long, hard look at the Diamond Sports ranking this year because I think it is well worth a shot of being incorporated into college baseball and softball.
All right, before we give our holiday hat tips, rank a couple holiday movies, and yes, I will recite the first 6 days of Gainsmas for you. Again, follow me on Instagram at Kyle Schass if you want the remaining 6 days. Of course you do. After I give you a little taste, after I give you a taste, we'll get out of here in about 15 minutes. So, Kahn.
All right.
I do want to ask, and I want to I want to go quickly. All right, we don't need to spend a lot of time on this, but your knee jerk reactions, or not reactions, but your declarative sense, where you're leaning on December 19th. All right, inside of 2 months of the start of college baseball season. You're fresh off the heels of 8 crazy nights. I want 8 crazy selections for Omaha this early, okay? Because let's face it, college baseball season will be here before we know it. We're going to make selections again in February.
Yep.
But I want you to go through your 8 first, and in doing so, feel free to maybe drop a morsel, if you will, of your favorite player or your favorite to maybe perhaps win the Golden Spikes Award.
I already have my Golden Spikes Award pick, but I'll
say
that until the end. No. You have to wait. You have to wait on that. I have it.
I wonder if we're the same.
There's a chance. There's definitely a chance we could be. But I do have mine. I need to pull up because I was going to talk about something with this person currently.
Okay, well, here, let's do this. Let's do the 8 teams, but here's my parameters, okay? No more than 2 SEC teams, and then no more than 1 team from any other league. Does that make sense? So you can only choose 1 Big 12 team, 1 Pac-12 team, 1 Big 10. Now, this is the final year of let's summarize
Texas,
again,
Oklahoma.
Conference realignment. So Texas, Oklahoma still in the Big 12. Stanford and Cal still in the Pac-12. Washington, Oregon still in the Pac-12. Utah, Arizona still in the Pac-12.
R.I.P.
All of this. The Pac-12 is going to be Oregon State. I mean, dude, Oregon State might win it all. How about that for a Pac-12 swan song? I'm with Michael Rooney on that one at D1Baseball.com because that was part of his logic on one of the recent pods. Go back and listen to the D1 Baseball guys just before Thanksgiving. I think it's November 22nd episode. I'm standing by Runes. I think Oregon State can carry the flag, at least get back to Omaha. So that's my first selection. I'm going to go with a Pac-12 representative. I'm jumping in front of you to the front of the line.
That's Oregon, fine because I had them too, so you can just write them down as well for me. That was my Pac-12 team.
That's
was Oregon
Pac-12
State.
team.
And it's funny because everyone's probably like, you're not going Stanford? No, Oregon State. Anyways, that was my one. My off-the-board selection, which really isn't an off-the-board selection, but this is the year, Schass. This is the year.
Don't say it.
It's happening.
Don't do it. ECU,
don't
do it. Yes. Don't do it. Come on. Yes. No.
ECU
I'm off
going
ECU.
to Omaha.
I'm done.
They're in. Put them in. Put them in, baby.
I cannot carry that burden anymore. I'll going to bat for ECU.
Put it on my shoulders.
All right, this is on you.
My back.
I will say I love
ECU.
Treya Savage. That dude shoves. Okay, I got to call one of his starts last year.
Don't forget about Jacob Starling, baby.
Oh, I know. And
I love it. I'm here.
They've got pieces. They've got some great pieces.
It's happening. They are underrated this year. I'm calling it right now. People are going to overlook them because of the fact that they can't break the barrier. They're shattering it this year. They're going. Make room at Rocco's for the ECU jungle.
Okay, while you go
east at Rocco's. Oh my God.
We might have to go.
we might have to
be there. If ECU goes, we're going. I promise you.
Period. I
will pay my own way. I will go because it's not happening. So I'm not going to have to pay my own way because they are not going to. No,
it's happening. They're going. That's my off-the-board selection. Yes.
I'm going to take Coastal Carolina.
Oh, man. Okay. All right.
Final year for Gary Gilmore.
Yep. I love that. I love that selection. I think that's a beautiful selection. All right. I'll take the obvious first SEC team, LSU. I think they're loaded. I mean, we talked to Jay Johnson again in October. Great conversation. Go back and get that in your feeds. They don't stop. I mean, look at who they lost. Led by Paul Skeens.
Dude, Paxton Kling?
Yeah.
There was a lot of buzz about Paxton now coming in as a sophomore. He's a draft-eligible sophomore, too, I think, at that. But that dude didn't get a lot of playing time because he was because he hit from the right side, okay? And you had so many right-handed bats in that lineup with Cruz and Tommy White and some of the other sluggers. And, it just made more sense to put Josh Pearson in there and Cade Beloso. And like, he was playing in the outfield. I mean, I don't know where he was going to play last year.
I don't know.
But like, he could be the biggest elixir, most dynamic player for this year outside of Tommy White offensively.
Totally agree with that. So that's SEC team number 1. Do you want to give your first SEC team, or do you want me to give my other one?
Give your other one.
All right. My other SEC team, I'm hopping on the board with Eric Sorensen and going with Alabama.
Oh,
yeah.
Alabama.
Yeah.
Huh?
Give me the Tide in Omaha. Tide.
Rob Vaughn in year 1.
Yes, he does it. The Maryland coach comes to Bama, recruits like he does. That's why they got him after the whole Brad Bohannon business. They wanted the straight and narrow but heavy hitter recruiting, and that's what Rob is doing. Give me Bama in Omaha.
I love it. Strong pick. I'm going with Arkansas. Okay, another top 20.
That's what I didn't want
to
do. You can have them. Take them.
Phenomenal. Phenomenal returnees, especially on the mound. I mean, Hagen Smith, Will McIntyre, Brady Tigert. We know what DVH can do. Oh, man. I mean, this team, Cody Adcock. I mean, all of these, the pitchers are older. Zach Morris is going to have a bounce back year. He really, underwhelmed last season.
Who's going to have Tommy John preseason? Who is it?
Oh, my God. Somebody is going to. I mean, it's just, God.
I hate wishing that, by the way. I don't wish that on anybody in the world. But
Dylan Carter.
It's happened 2 years in a row for Arkansas. Like, if it happens again, there's a problem.
Well, and you're going to have
a real problem.
Oh, man. Dude,
they're
team,
good. They're loaded, but I can't pick them. I can't do it.
Yeah.
I just can't do it. I can't.
Yeah.
I can't.
All right, so I'm going with I got Arkansas. And then
second. LSU?
No, it's Florida, man.
Oh.
Come on, bro.
Cags.
And Colby Shelton?
Yeah.
Kidding me?
Yeah. Oh, Cags.
Kate Curling?
Again.
Kate Curling a year and older too?
Yes.
Dude, how do you pronounce the other transfer that Florida got? Pitcher, right? Done? Oh no, he's catcher. Brody Done.
Yes, Done, I believe, is how you say it.
Yeah, Florida racked up, man.
They did. That's a good pick. I love that pick. That's a great selection.
Dude, Colby Shelton had 22 homers at Alabama as a true freshman.
As a freshman, yep.
And now, where's he going to hit in the floor? Like, is he going to be protected by Cags? Dude might hit 30 home runs if that's the case. Like,
well, I think
imagine if Shelton's in third and Cags fourth, or Shelton 2 and Cags third.
I think that's what you have to do is Shelton 3, Cags 4. I mean, you can even hit Cags 5 and Shelton clean up.
Either way, he's going to be protected by Cags.
Yes, absolutely. Their power potential is insane. I mean, you remember what Tennessee did 2 years ago, home run wise? Look out. Florida's coming.
They might have 5 guys hit 25 homers,
which would put them over the 158 that Tennessee did 2 years ago already. That's insane. Actually, no, that'd be 125. But fill in the rest of their lineup, they'd do it.
It can happen.
So, oh my God, they're loaded. That's a great pick.
All right, so we're each at 4. We each have exhausted our SEC teams. No Pac-12 selections available.
Oh, I got to go Big 12. Okay.
Yeah. Well, you don't have to. You can leave the Big 12 out and go a couple other mid-majors.
I'm not. No. That's just disrespect to the Big 12. You know what? TCU, put them back in.
Okay.
They underperformed last year in Omaha, and I know that is digging in the craw of Kirk Saarloos 100%. So I think TCU gets back to the promised land and does some damage in Omaha, because I had them going. I think I predicted having them, win a couple games, and they went. So give me TCU.
Okay.
You have a Big 12 team or no? Oh, you do?
I'll give you a Big 12 team. This is my surprise.
I feel like I know who you're going to pick here.
They share my initials, and they have beautiful cream and purple colored uniforms.
It's for the uniforms. Yeah. Okay.
Kansas State, baby.
Wow.
K-State.
Yes.
Little Apple.
I love it.
Heading up to
Yes.
Rocco's. Woo!
I love it. That's a great pick.
Little apple Jello shot. Just thinking about boozing. Sorry, it's the holidays. 'Tis the season. Yeah,
Did you
give
get
me
your Bailey's and
Kansas.
Kahlua yet?
No. I might do that tonight. Actually,
There you go.
I got to go get Pudge from school in 10 minutes, so we got
All right.
to wrap this up.
We're good. We're good.
But yeah, give me K-State. Pete Hughes will be in his 6th year.
Mm-hmm.
I just love what he's been building, what he's been doing. So good.
Okay.
So carry on that positive momentum. K-State's been knocking on the door. I think they're going to have a big breakthrough year and catch a lot of people off guard. Certainly the big, maybe not in the Big 12, but nationally, for sure. All right, let me go. We'll snake this up. So if I got
ACC.
K-State.
Do you have one from there?
Yeah, Clemson.
Okay.
Not Wake Forest. Clemson.
No, I don't have Wake either.
Now, Wake might win it all. They might be the best team. They might be the preseason number 1.
I don't have them in, but I'm with you on the fact that they could. There's no more Rhett Lauder, and that's so massive.
Give me Eric Bakich, okay? And what Check Leggett are doing.
You believe. Okay, so because of the fact that you took Clemson, I will take the other team that I was considering in the ACC that is not named Wake Forest, because it was Clemson as other team for me, and I was hoping you would pick one of them so I could pick the other, and I will, and it's Duke.
Ooh, daddy like.
I know you would.
All right, that's a good one.
Give me the Dukies. We both felt so confident in them not making it last year to Omaha that I need to return the favor to the Dukies and pick them to win it this year. This is a pride pick for me. So I'm going with Dookie. Blue Devils to Omaha.
All right, so you've got a Pac-12, you got your 2 SEC, you got an ACC and a Big 12. Are you
and East Carolina?
Are you dipping into the Big 10 at all?
No.
Because I am.
Oh.
Give me Iowa.
Iowa? What?
Cody Breck, baby. Come on, we're going to ride that arm of Cody Breck, man.
Okay, all right, fine. Fair enough.
Dude, Hawkeyes were solid last year, man. Them in Indiana, they're going to carry the flag for the Big 10 this year. But I like Iowa. Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Who made a regional and that was it? All right. I mean, okay. Patrick Ebert, if you go all the way back to
Indiana, Lexington, that was the Lexington Regional. Iowa was in
West Virginia, Kentucky, Indiana, and Ball State. If you go back to the way too early 8 for Omaha, and I have this up just for happenstance, Patrick Ebert agreed with you. He picked Indiana to go to Omaha.
Really? Okay.
Yes, the only one. There's only one Hawkeye logo. Now, Burke Granger of D1 Baseball picked Indiana to go to Omaha.
Oh.
Yeah. The only other Big Ten team I'm seeing on here is Maryland. Stephen Schock had the Terps in the way too early 8 for Omaha. Those are the 3 Big Ten teams that I'm seeing going to Omaha for any of the D1 baseball picks. This was back in June, but still.
Iowa is playing 5 SEC teams prior to the Big Ten season getting underway.
Who are they? List them.
They've got a 3-game set at Ole Miss, March 1st, 2nd, and 3rd.
Ooh.
Before that, they'll see Auburn, 2nd weekend of the season in the Jacksonville College Baseball Classic. Virginia's also there. So you talk about some good early tests.
Ooh.
They'll have Auburn, Virginia, and Wichita State. And then they'll also see Georgia. They travel to Georgia for a Tuesday midweek, which I'm guessing they'll
Our boy Wes.
Yeah. Wes Johnson, new head coach of Bulldogs, former LSU pitching coach. But I'm guessing they'll just stay down south because they're playing at Jacksonville State the previous weekend, and then they'll head over to Athens. And then they have their home opener against my alma mater, who shouldn't even be a Division I program anymore.
You still hate him.
God, Western Illinois. Hate you. I love you, but I hate you. I hate you.
All right, how many more teams do I need to pick?
Did you give me a Big Ten team? No. You owe me 2 more.
I owe you 2 more. Okay. Oh, sweet mercy. Oh my God. And I can't. I'm limited here because I already picked an ACC.
Oh, we're also dealing with limited juice on the laptop because obviously I don't have a chart. I'm at 40%.
Sugar.
All right, we got 10 minutes, man.
Okay,
gotta be done.
All right. Man. The conference limitations are horrible. but it's a
It's
great
part of the game, man.
I know.
Come on.
Man. Okay. This is a cop-out pick here because I ran out of picks. I'll take Coastal as well.
Okay.
Yeah. That's my 7th. So who's your 7th? Because I need time to find
Well,
out.
my 7th was Iowa. Now I'm really shooting.
Oh, you're still. Okay, who's your 8th?
Now I have no idea.
I'm trying to go off the board here, so let me dig one out here because I haven't taken a Big Ten team and I'm not going to. I'm going to stick with that.
South Alabama?
Really?
They got who they have coming back. I'm just thinking of teams like I don't know enough. It's too early. That's why it's crazy. Gosh.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Okay.
Jags?
Man. Ooh. Hang on.
I want somebody out of the Fun Belt, but I don't want to go Southern Miss.
I don't like
Troy?
that. I don't like it. I don't like the Fun Belt. I mean, they're going to surprise us all and be good again this year. They're a top 5 conference in college baseball for sure.
Yeah.
You know what? Okay. I'm gonna regret the hell out of this pick.
Well, I can't talk. I have Coastal. That is my Fun Belt team.
Oh, you're right. Sorry.
Yeah.
You're right. My bad. Forgot what conference they were in. Oh, good gracious. Oh my God. Am I gonna have to pick someone out of the Big Ten of necessity? No, I'm not. Okay. Notre Dame.
Oh. But you already picked Duke.
They're not in the ACC.
For baseball.
Oh shit, they are. Damn it. Fuck. Okay, fine. I'll pick a stupid Big Ten team because I have to. I hate everything about this. Give me Maryland because I don't like anything about it. I'm just gonna take one from D1's picks. Just give me Maryland. It's fine.
Okay.
Well, we're gonna redo all this in February, and I'll feel a lot better about it. I hate everything about that, but give me Maryland.
All right. If that's the case, I'm going to go one more very off the radar pick. Let me pull up a schedule here just to be sure I've got this right because I want to see what they did last year.
And I do have my Golden Spikes Award winner ready, locked, and loaded.
All right. I'm going to go with give me Northeastern.
That's awesome. Out of the CAA.
Yep.
That's awesome. I would love that. I would be thrilled for the Huskies.
Northeastern.
They were my number 2 choice.
Northeastern opens with Arizona.
Okay.
In Tucson.
Okay.
Then they have their typical traditional matchup with the Boston Red Sox in Fort Myers.
Spring training. Yep.
Minnesota, Georgia Tech, Old Dominion on the schedule. I saw them against Duke last year. So, give me Northeastern.
I saw them against UNCG.
You did? Mm-hmm. You did. Yeah. I'm going with Northeastern. Mike Lavin and them Huskies.
Love it. I do think the Boston College train leaves the station this year, by the way. I think they regress to the mean. In terms of baseball status.
Yeah. All right, so I got Oregon State, Coastal Carolina, Arkansas, Florida, Kansas State, Clemson, Iowa, and Northeastern is my 8 crazy selections for Omaha. Who are yours?
All right. Did you write them down? Because I don't remember.
I got Oregon State, ECU, LSU, Bama, TCU, Duke. I only have 6.
Coastal and Maryland are the ones you're missing for me.
Coastal.
Okay. My National Player of the Year is in the ACC.
Ooh,
he is not on a team that's going to Omaha. He is possibly the number 1 overall pick in the draft. Pundits are saying. Give me Nicky Nukes.
Wow. Kurtz.
Yeah.
Kurtz.
Give me Nicky Nukes from Wake Forest to win the Golden Spikes Award and be the number 1 overall pick in the draft.
Okay, I'm taking a guy who's projected as a top 5 pick.
Is it Cags?
Out of the Big 12.
Oh.
Come on. JJ Weatherholt.
Yeah, you love JJ Weatherholt.
I love him. JJ.
You love him.
449.
Final year for Randy Mazey.
Yeah.
As the head coach.
Oh, yeah.
Then Steve Sabins takes over.
That's right.
Yeah.
36 stolen bases, 16 homers. Big 12 Player of the Year.
So good.
Led
400 plus
Mountaineers
average.
to a
Amazing.
Big 12 title. So JJ Weatherholt. I'm gonna go with him.
I will actually be calling West Virginia's Big 12 series opener against BYU in March.
Very nice. In Morgantown?
In Morgantown. Yeah, it's already on the books. I found out
Very
a
cool.
couple weeks ago I will be driving to Morgantown March 7th to the 9th. West Virginia hosting, first time they're facing this team, BYU in the Big 12.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very
So
cool.
I will see JJ Weatherholt in rare fashion.
Very
And
cool.
I'll get to bid a I'll tell Randy Macy that Tom Selleck says hello.
I need to shave, man. No,
Yeah, you
no
got a
stash.
little
I got
5 o'clock
got a little
shadow there,
stubble.
my guy.
Got a little
My
stubble.
guy. Yeah.
Got a little stubble.
All right.
All right, let's end it in a on a festive note. Your top 5 holiday movies. I feel like this is something we do every year, but we got to
Why not?
reset it. Yeah.
Yeah, why not? All right. So number 1 is probably the same as you. Elf. Huge fan. Then we have A Charlie Brown Christmas. Phenomenal movie. Home Alone. We have The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh, love that. Love that.
Great pick. And then, would I be a good Jew without taking Adam Sandler's 8 Crazy Nights as number 5?
Very good. Very good. All right. Number 1, I'm going to go with Christmas Vacation. Look, all yours are fine, inarguable. Okay. And really, my top 5 are somewhat interchangeable. But I'm going to go Christmas Vacation number 1.
Okay.
I'm gonna go Elf 2.
Okay.
I'm gonna go Christmas Story 3.
Oh, good one. I meant yep. Okay. I left that one out. That should have been in there.
This came up over the weekend at one of our Friendsgivings. Home Alone. I'm gonna go number 2.
Okay,
Boston, New York.
I think that's the best one.
That's my favorite. However, tomato tomato. Home Alone 1 and 2 are by themselves. Any other Home Alone after that, trash.
Agreed.
Like, don't come in.
100%. Yep. Totally agree.
I tried out to be the new Home Alone for Home Alone 3 in the city of Chicago. We stood in line for hours.
Did you really?
Yeah. And they didn't see me, so my grandma submitted the photo my grandma took me. We stood outside Daily Plaza, downtown Chicago, freezing cold for like 6, 7, could have been 8 hours. I don't know. It was all day.
No way.
They're awesome. Open casting.
That's awesome.
And then we gave my information and a mugshot of me. This was fat, chubby Pudge, husky Schass in the 90s and late 90s would have been, I believe. Maybe 2001, I can't remember. But anyways, I got a modeling contract out of it, so I was a model, and I tried out for other movies. Disney's The Kid. I was I had a Skippy's peanut butter commercial script that I had to do. Crest toothpaste.
Oh, I want to see that.
Yeah, but none of it I don't have any of it because I didn't. They were all auditions that I failed on every single one. So. That's how they get your money, too. We got you on a modeling contract.
Hey,
we're going to parade you in.
You're talking to a child actor, okay? I did the same thing. Yeah, I did acting when I was younger. I auditioned for several commercials, never got them. I know the deal. Okay. Never had an agent, but yeah.
4 was Home Alone. 5, just rewatched it over the weekend. I feel like it doesn't get enough shine. 4 Christmases. How about that?
Never seen that one.
4 Christmases.
Okay.
Vince Vaughn and Reese Witherspoon is excellent.
All right. I've seen the others that you mentioned, obviously.
So emblematic of so many of our lives, which is what makes Christmas Vacation and A Christmas Story so great because they're so relatable in so many different areas in terms of the families getting together, growing up, whatever it is. And 4 Christmases, especially, when you have split households and, separated parents and you're living no kids or what have you. Like there's just so many different, things tethered to life that you can relate to, and it's hilarious. Great humor. Okay, holiday. What do we got? Holiday dude, hat tip.
I mean,
what are we getting,
dude? I'm gonna take the easy way out, but I'm gonna give a hat tip to the DSR. I think it's a phenomenal new tool.
I'm with you.
I love it. I think that it should be adopted. And obviously, I may be jumping the gun here, but I am excited to see how it plays out this year in 2024. So the hat tip goes to D1 and 643 Charts for coming up with a really cool new invention that'll make the game of college baseball and softball more exciting. Like what's wrong with making the game more fun? I love it.
It is amazing. It is in theory, I'm really excited, jacked up to see how this pans out and to help chronicle either its successes or failures over the next season. So we will certainly talk about that a lot. My hat tip, eggnog, man.
Oh yeah.
Spiked eggnog. I need it. We need it. It's how it is. Drink responsibly, everyone. But look, enjoy yourselves. Whatever it is, your drink of choice, have fun, gather, be sociable, be friendly, be a family man, whatever. Go through the motions, pretend, go through it all, because one day it's not going to be there for you. So take care of your mental health, but be there for others. Be joyous, be jolly, don't be a Scrooge. And if you can raise a glass and have a toast and do it responsibly, do that. Enjoy yourself. Take some time for yourself and for your family and friends this holiday season.
I should mention, Schass, that Hanakon does plan on making a delivery of spiked eggnog in the near future. So.
Okay. All right.
So don't buy it for yourself because it's on my list.
All right. I'm gearing up. I'm going to gear up. I have something special for you as well.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I know you loved it so much last year, so like I gotta get him another one.
And I have something special for all of those that are still hanging with us more than an hour into this podcast.
Oh yes, it's time.
God bless you. It is time. Make sure though you listen to College Sports Now between now and the college football playoff, the national championship game. Stephen Hartzell and them boys, Wayne Cook, Roddy Jones, Michael Felder. We'll all be there to help break down the college football playoff for the remaining bowl season. Phil Steele will make an appearance as well. Trip Hurd and I are shutting down the Phil Steele show. We're going to let Stephen Hartzell have all the shine with Phil coming up after Christmas. So this feed right here, the College Sports Now podcast feed, wherever you podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, continue to do so. And Matt Norlander will be back. Already one basketball pod in the books. Rob Joyce will have some women's basketball coverage coming up here, too, as we move into the new year, 2024. I cannot believe it. But I leave you with this. The first 6 days of Gainsmas, okay? And I'm not going to start from the beginning. I'm going to work backwards starting at 6. Follow me on Instagram, at Kyle Schass, if you want the remaining 6 days. And, of course, you do. Because on the 6th day of Gainsmas, my soulmate gave to me 6 hard-boiled eggs, 5-inch inseams, 4 miles ran, 3 snapback hats, 2 scoops of protein, and a juicy pump guarantee.